Heavy rain finally out of central and eastern Kentucky, but I've got additional showers and thunderstorms with the hour-by-hour forecast just ahead.
Some business owners in Casey County had a lot to clean up tonight because of flooding. What they're doing to make sure they can reopen tomorrow.
Powell County braces for more flooding as the Red River continues to rise.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening to you. Tonight we are finally getting a break from all that heavy rain, but many creeks and rivers are now at flood stage and some are still rising tonight.
And more rain could be on the way later this week. We begin our team coverage tonight with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. He shows us what he's tracking right now on the First Alert Defender.
Yeah, thankfully, the radar portion of Defender has calmed down dramatically over the past several hours. That is certainly welcome news, considering most areas today picked up 1 to 4 inches of rain, some locally higher amounts, obviously leading to all kinds of flooding issues. Current flood warnings that continue into the overnight for every area that is shaded in green. You can see a lot of the rivers snaking through central Kentucky with those warnings out. We'll touch on those in a moment. Still with flood warnings, general flood warnings for several counties across eastern Kentucky. That more of a precautionary measure, not really getting any new rainfall. It's just to allow those creeks and streams that are flooding the low-lying and flood-prone roads a little more time to recede and get back to within their banks. That may take the better part of the overnight in some cases. A great-looking live First Alert Defender, a sprinkle in eastern Kentucky, about all she wrote as of right now. River flood warnings. The big story over the next couple of days, the Red River at Clay City may approach a 21.5-foot crest as we go into tomorrow night. That would mean for some moderate flooding. Parts of the Kentucky River with minor to moderate flooding as well. Stoner Creek into Paris and parts of the Licking River with flood warnings as well that will carry us into the next couple of days. The overall setup right now continues to be a very active one. Got a little cooler high pressure across the Great Lakes that's keeping the heaviest rain through tomorrow just to our south. But coming up here in just a bit, I'm going to show you why this little wave of low pressure may clip parts of the area with another round of some decent rains tomorrow. It's a close call for some. The hour-by-hour forecast with the very latest in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chris. And tonight, some businesses in Casey County had a mess to clean up because of that flooding.
Take a look. This is some eyewitness video that shows what US 127 looked like in Liberty this afternoon. At one point, the road had to be shut down. Some businesses at a nearby shopping center flooded, and for one of them, this came during their busiest time of year. Monique Blair continues our First Alert Weather team coverage.
My husband called me and said, "You better be getting your stuff out of there," and I said, "Well, I'm doing a tax return."
April 14th, probably not the most ideal day to have a mild disaster hit a tax prep store. But today, this H&R Block in Liberty had to be evacuated and shut down as the heavy rainfall caused serious flooding.
It just looked like a river, a whole river all the way around us.
Franchisee owner Janice Atwood, along with about 100 volunteers, spent the afternoon pulling up floors, clearing out furniture, and cleaning up the several inches of water that poured inside the store.
This was our break room, and stuff was floating in here.
I'm standing in front of Green River right now in Casey County, and you can see it's still very high, but folks who live out here tell me this is nothing compared to what it looked like just a few hours ago.
As you can see the water marks on my pants. It was knee deep.
Add to the H&R Block store being flooded,
there was people living back here.
There were also apartments in the back of the building that had to be completely gutted once the rain stopped today.
This is the carpeting in one of the apartments, as you can see.
Atwood says she is staying positive because although there was significant damage, no one was hurt, and she didn't lose any of her important tax documents. And she plans to open bright and early tomorrow for her busiest day of the year.
I plan on in the morning having computers set up, servers set up, and ready to finish filing for deadline.
In Casey County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Well, she has got a long day ahead of her. The Casey County Judge Executive declared a state of emergency because of that flooding. At least 5 businesses had to evacuate this afternoon when the water got too high.
Chris mentioned this just a minute ago. In some parts of the Bluegrass, river flooding is now becoming the biggest problem. The Red River in Powell County is expected to reach moderate flood stage. As Garrett Weimer tells us tonight, that has emergency managers worried about homes near the river.
If you didn't know any better, you might think this is a lake. It isn't. It's the Red River. High water forced schools to let out early and closed several roads.
Be very cautious and very courteous of the water will do some tremendous things for you, and you don't want to be in it when it's actually moving pretty fast.
Emergency management officials say the tricky part here in Powell County is that the flood threat isn't over when the rain stops. They say water flowing down from the mountains continues to add to the water level. Take Maple Street here in Stanton, for example, which just 90 minutes ago you could drive through. The National Weather Service forecasts the river to crest at 21.5 feet. 23 feet is major flood stage.
Well, 23 feet is actually where it could possibly get in some residents. So we're looking at 2 feet under of what we're looking at, quite a bit of the damage that actually floods houses and places.
The county saw similar flooding just a week and a half ago. Sparks says he hopes folks continue to treat high water as a dangerous situation. In Powell County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
And not much different for people tonight in Franklin County. They're keeping a close eye on the rising water as well. The Kentucky River in Frankfort is forecast to rise above flood stage Thursday night. Water from heavy rain in eastern Kentucky is now moving downstream towards Franklin County. Emergency managers are asking people living near the river to get ready.
Going from 11 feet to 31 feet, that's a 20-foot rise in 2 days, and that is outside the norm for us. So everybody needs to pay attention to what they're doing. Be prepared if you live in low-lying areas, in flood-prone areas, and let this go up, and it'll go down by the weekend, and surely things will get better.
We're all hoping so. Emergency managers say that Benson Valley Road and Stony Creek Road are some of the first roads to flood near the river.
Heavy rain flooded roads and even triggered a mudslide in Madison County today. A car got stuck at a flooded underpass along Red House Road this morning, and on nearby Union City Road, some homes were cut off by high water. This afternoon, search and rescue pulled a car from a creek on Paint Lick Road near Berea, but they're not sure if anyone was inside when it got stuck. People who had a hard time leaving home today say they were frustrated.
If we have a real hard rain, it'll come up and just kind of go away. But where the ground is so wet and so much rain we had this month, it just comes right back up.
On Tate's Creek Road, a mudslide sent trees falling across the road, forcing police to close it. Road workers couldn't move the trees right away for fear more of the nearby hill could come loose. They may have to bring in an excavator before they can clear that road.
Some parents in Lincoln County are demanding answers after a school bus drove through high water. We received a picture of the Lincoln County bus crossing Harris Creek Road this morning with the road covered in water. Some parents wanted to know why. So we asked Lincoln County school leaders. They say the driver didn't see the water in time and quickly realized the road was too narrow for him to turn around.
Lack of visibility. Like I said, when you've had your windows fogged up and you can't see, you're backing into an area that you're uncertain of.
Through a statement released by Lincoln County Schools, the driver said the water was not moving and he was confident he could drive the bus through it safely. Some students were on the bus at the time. No one was injured. Lincoln County Schools dismissed early today because of flooding.
A mudslide in Floyd County forced some families from their homes this afternoon. It happened near the David community. Emergency crews say the mudslide started around 9 this morning and it hasn't stopped since. One woman says she was at work when her parents told her what was going on.
My mom called about 2 o'clock and said, "I don't want you to be alarmed or anything," which of course alarmed me. And she said, "But the rescue squad's here, we had to evacuate."
Emergency crews say they're asking people who live in that area to stay away until all of the mud can be cleared. They're not sure how long that's going to take.
Road crews think heavy rain caused a massive boulder to fall onto a Menifee County road today. Take a look at how big this is. Larger than a pickup truck or two, shutting down Highway 1274 near the Rowan County line. No one was injured when it fell. Road crews brought in an excavator to break up the boulder into smaller pieces so they can be hauled away. But that's just the first step.
It appears that the road is damaged underneath the rock. You can see some holes in the road. When we get the rock moved, we'll be able to assess it more.
At last check, Highway 1274 was still closed. Crews hope to have at least one lane of traffic open by tomorrow morning. Another rock slide closed an eastern Kentucky road this afternoon. This eyewitness picture showing Highway 699 in Leslie County. You can see rocks all over the road. If you have eyewitness pictures, we'd like to see them. Just look for the Eyewitness tab on WKYT.com or post them on our Facebook page.
Tonight, Kentucky Utilities workers are making repairs after a power outage in downtown Lexington. About 750 customers in the South Broadway and Maxwell Street areas lost power at 8:30. Lexington Emergency Management says at one point Good Samaritan Hospital was operating on generator power. At last check, power had been restored all of about 150 customers. KU has not said what caused the outage. Tonight, newly released surveillance video shows a fight at a Richmond bar involving UK and EKU football players.
Richmond police released the video of the fight along with other evidence. It came after the Madison County grand jury decided not to indict anyone for the fight. The video from Jersey's on January 25th shows EKU football player Colton Scurry visibly upset and talking to someone. And moments later, the fight breaks out and Scurry ends up with injuries to his face. One of Scurry's friends soon called 911 for help.
Standing on the side. What happened? What happened? My friend was at Jersey. He got jumped by a group of guys.
According to a police report, an officer who watched the video says it appeared Scurry was the primary aggressor in the fight. Scurry suffered cuts and some broken bones. Because no one was indicted, we are not naming the UK players involved.
Tonight, the Fayette County School Rezoning Committee presented its final proposals to the public. The committee was in charge of drawing up new maps for elementary, middle, and high schools in the county. Among the recommendations, students for a new high school on Winchester Road would be drawn from mainly Bryan Station and Henry Clay high schools. The Fayette County Board of Education will make the final decision on school boundaries. Maps proposed by the committee are expected to be posted online in the coming days. We have an update tonight on a Lexington man badly injured when a tree fell on his tent. Leaders at UK Hospital tell us that Brian Carlson has now been released. On April 3rd, investigators say he was camping with his wife Kathy and their 3 children at Natural Bridge State Park in Powell County, but a storm knocked a tree onto the family's tent. Kathy was killed, but the children were not injured.
Tonight, music fans are remembering singer Percy Sledge. It is a classic. That's Sledge singing his classic hit, When a Man Loves a Woman. The R&B singer dying today at the age of 74. His manager said Sledge had been suffering from cancer but died of liver failure. He continued touring up until last year.
Today, the Kentucky Court of Appeals heard arguments over whether the results of last year's judge executive's race in Menifee County should be thrown out. A judge in a lower court ruled at least 4 people were paid for their votes, so he threw out the results. Democrat Charles Doc Hardin beat Republican John Montgomery by a narrow margin. Hardin claims he did nothing wrong. The Court of Appeals does not have a deadline to issue an opinion in the case, but attorneys on both sides are confident a decision will be made soon.